everybody. Welcome to episode 22 of the Brownie Knits podcast. I'm your host, Gina, aka Brownie Knits. And you might be thinking, didn't I just watch this episode? She's wearing the same thing. No, this is a new one. This is episode 22. We're going to talk about block 8 of the Brownie Knits 2015 block blanket along. The reason that I'm wearing the same thing, I did change my table out here a little bit to help you distinguish between the two episodes. I'm wearing the same thing because I'm recording these back to back, because by the time you guys see this, we will have been out of town on a trip. So in order to have this up on time, which was important because this is a block episode, I went ahead and did my recording prior to our adventure. So we'll have to wait another 2 weeks to find out what that adventure was, right? I'm sure we had a blast. I feel like on, Ellen and episodes like that, when they're actually recording before it's Christmas, but they're acting like it's Christmas, that kind of thing. Or they are recording before the Emmys and then they're saying, oh, blah, 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 was so fabulous, and joking because they really don't know what happened. So anyway, I predict that I had a great time and that we were probably walking quite a bit and maybe spent some money, and I'm not sure, maybe bought some yarn, maybe not. Okay, anyway, so in this episode we're going to talk about block 8 of the Brownie Knits 2015 block blanket along, which is a year-long knit along that we've been having in my group. The blocks are free from, you can download them from Ravelry or from BrownieKnits.com. Ravelry is very not happy when you have more than like 4 files in a record. So if you're unable to see all of the blocks to download, you can clear them all out of your history and then reload them, or you can jump over to BrownieKnits.com and download the PDF from there. These will all be free until the end of January 2016, and at that time I'll be releasing the pattern as a for purchase pattern. So block 8, I promised you would be a little bit of a new technique. So don't be scared by it. It's not that difficult. And actually on my YouTube channel, I'm going to have a techniques video that's going to show you how to do the specific stitch that's used in this block. So yes, it is a little bit like learning something new. You may have actually done it before, but it's not a very difficult thing to learn. So don't be scared. You can do it. All right. So here it is. It is in the fisherman's rib. If you've ever done fisherman's rib, you know it's very stretchy and very squishy. I think it would be just so cozy to have a whole blanket out of it. Here it is in the Barocco Vintage in the mushroom colorway. You start with our, actually I have it upside down side. It doesn't really matter because it's all reversible, but you start with our garter stitch down here at the edge, and then follow my, I can't remember if it's an increase or decrease to get to the number of stitches that we want. And then when you do the fisherman's rib, there are a couple setup rows that you'll do. And then from there, it's just the same row over and over again. And you're creating this elongated look of the knit stitch and the purls in between by going in to the stitch below. So you'll do a stitch and then you'll go into the next stitch, you'll go into the stitch below it, and you'll do an action and you drop those off. So you're actually undoing some of the row that you did below. It sounds scary, it's not bad. Hop over to the techniques video that, it's probably going to be called like the Brownie Knits Fisherman's Rib techniques video, or techniques video for Fisherman's Rib, and take a look there, and you can do it. I swear you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Now, here it is in my second blanket in the Miss Babs Yowza What a Skein Circus Peanuts colorway. There you go. Yeah, don't forget to do your garter stitch on the edge, and then at the top. And the important thing for this one, I probably would suggest that you put this one on a corner. When you block it, you don't want to stretch out the rib. Don't block it like this. Block it by pushing the rib together to get it to be the 12 by 12 or whatever size you're wanting for your block. Because it does stretch quite a bit, you might not need to knit it as deep. You know, it might only measure like 11 when you're finished knitting it, and then when you block it, it's going to block out to be 12. And I mentioned that in the pattern for this block. But other than that, it's not too bad. So go check out the techniques video. You can totally do this. It's a new little technique, I'm sure, for some of you, but it's a good one to know. It's fun to have. So go give it a shot. Look at the techniques video and give it a shot. You can do it. Again, put it on the corner. Don't block it out to be too big. Squish it together when it's drying. And any color. Yeah, this is good for any color. It's going to show up. All right, so there's that block. All right, so I had a few things that I thought I'd share with you in this podcast episode. Since we just talked, what I actually did was took everything I was going to talk about one day and divided it into 2 episodes. So I showed you last time that I had made this new Italian themed fabric bag. And I said I would show you this time what was stuffed inside. I also mentioned last time that my niece Ella is total girly girl, loves purple, loves pink. What I didn't say was she will only wear skirts and dresses. Love her. She's so great. So I am going to make Miss Ella a skirt. This is looking really dark and not little girly, but it really is. I'm going to make her a skirt using the Summer Breezy skirt pattern by, let me see here, Elena Nodel. And only instead of, it calls for a yarn that, first of all, I couldn't get. And second, it's 100% cotton. Well, Ella's probably going to wear this in the fall and winter. She lives in Alabama now. And in the fall and winter, I thought she could wear it over leggings, or if it was a warmer day down there, because it doesn't get as cool as it does here, even just tights. And I thought I would do it out of a super soft merino so that it wouldn't stretch out like cotton does, and I couldn't get the cotton that I needed anyway. So I'm going to make it out of Malabrigo Rios, and I'm using the Lavanda. It's not lavender, it's Lavanda colorway 066. So that will be on the needles probably by the time that you see this video. And I'll be showing that status of that. So, and her mother showed her or told her that I was going to be making her a skirt, and she was super excited, which I thought was really cute. You know, you take that as long as you can get it until you become the aunt who knits for them for Christmas. So, all right, so that's one thing that I'm working on. And then I mentioned last time in the video that I'm participating in the Actually Knitting audio podcast, Pal Cal. It's a knit along where she's supporting other podcasters that we listen to or watch. And if you go to my Ravelry store, my Brownie Knits Ravelry store, you can use the code PALKAL25 to get 25% off your entire order. You can use it as much as you want between now, which is beginning of August, and September 1st, 2015. So you can get some patterns, and the Actually Knitting audio podcast, if you go and look at her site, you can see all of the rules for entering and different ways that you can support podcasters that you watch or listen to. And so one of the things I showed you last time that I'm making the Life of Leaf Shawl, and this time I thought I would show you, I haven't started it yet, but I thought I'd show you my plans or tell you my plans. I'm going to use a Wee Bit Knitty's mystery knit sock that she released, I believe, in October 2014. You've probably seen this sock. it has like a snowflake motif on it. I think Danny from the Little Bobbins video podcast knitted them. And I wanted to make them, and I thought, well, this is a good opportunity to do that. I'll go and grab that pattern and, load that up to Ravelry, and then be able to tag it for the Actually Knitting Pal Cal 2015. And then I was watching, I mentioned last time I'm trying to catch up on watching all of the podcasts, or listening to all the podcasts too, that I've been too busy to watch this summer. And I binge watched the other day, which is actually like over a week ago now by the time you see this video, the Turbo Knitter. And he, along with, I believe it's the Pinhook and Needles podcast, are participating in Cardiac Read Along. You can go to the Turbo Knitters Ravelry group, join his group, read his rules for, I believe, for July, August, and September. I think that's it, but you need to check that to make sure. He is hosting this knit along, or Cardiac Read Along as well, and you knit something with red. So I thought I would participate in that in honor of my mom, who passed away of a heart attack. And I had this lovely red Cascade sock yarn, Cascade Heritage sock yarn in my stash, and it's color 5607, so that's what I'll be making as part of the Pal Cal and as part of Cardiac Read Along. So there are a couple things that you can check out that you might want to participate in as well. So, and then the other thing that I've been working on is my True Friend sweater, which is, I'm knitting it out of Malabrigo, Madelinetosh Tosh Merino Light in the Dahlia and Smokestack colorways. And this is a for purchase pattern by Veera, and I know I always say Veera's name wrong, but I don't know how to say it right. I'm going to say Valimaki. And the pattern is True Friend, and I'm making a lot of progress. It probably doesn't look like it from the last time I showed it, but I really am. So you do your collar, you do this bib in the front and the back, and then you do these sides where it's going all the way around in a straight. And you're increasing as you go, so the rows get really long. But you're actually kind of making the sleeves too. So you're making the sleeves and the sides. You seam up the sides, do a little more work on the sleeves. So I'm hoping, I'm determined to have this done and ready to wear it Rhinebeck, and then it'll probably be so hot that I can't wear it, but that's the plan for me, to have it done by then so that I can wear it there if it's chilly enough. And if not, I'll have it this winter to wear. And it's really made me want to knit other sweaters. So, and want to knit other sweaters in sock weight, because I get really hot pretty easily from the tumors, and a sock weight sweater is just easier for me to wear. So there are a couple patterns by Joji Locatelli. I love her designs. There are a couple of her sweaters that I want to make, and I have the yarn actually to make another sweater that's out of linen, and I think I might go ahead and make that for me to wear in the fall. I think that would be a good temperature for me, actually. So I think I had 5. Remember last episode I mentioned that I went and sat down and made out this huge list of everything that I wanted to make the rest of the year, and there's this sweater and I think 4 other sweaters on there. I only have yarn for one of the other ones, so who knows, by the time you watch this episode I might have yarn for at least one more. But anyway, I probably won't get them all done for winter 2015-16, but we'll see. I thought this year was going to be the year of the shawls, and then I just got really burnt out on them, except for the Life of Leaves shawl, which I'm really enjoying. And then I have a design in my head that I might turn into a shawl. But it's turning into the year, definitely the year of the hats. Every year for me is the year of hats and sweaters. So I would go and check this one out. I think it's actually going to be a sweater that looks great on any body type. So, and Hannah, who is my year-long Swap for All Seasons swap partner, mentioned this pattern to me, so I fell in love with it and decided to make it. So yeah, I've been working on that. A couple other quick, well, one other quick announcement. I wanted to remind everybody, in case you didn't see the last episode or you may have forgotten, our next giveaway will be given away in the mid-September podcast 2015, and you'll get a couple of lovely skeins of yarn. The Fiber Company Canopy, this skein, and it is their Cloud Forest color, and then a skein of Madelinetosh Pashmina, and the colorway is Milk. It's like a creamy color. See, I don't know what you could do something just gorgeous. I thought that would be kind of a fun thing to do as a giveaway in September, because then you could knit it up in October to have for the winter. It just kind of reminded me of winter skies. And then you'll get these little stitch markers. Oops, sorry, that's upside down. Stitch markers and a couple of little Knit For You cards. These are from Prairie Bag Works, and you can find her on Etsy. And finally, in that same giveaway, you'll get this little Stash Bot guide to building a useful stash. So, how do you register for that? You need to be a member of the Brownie Knits group in Ravelry, and then go up to our thread that is for the that giveaway. You'll see it. I'll sticky it so it's near the top, and it's kind of twofold. One, you can post photos of things that you are making for fall, because I am really inspired by fall right now, even though it's August when you see this episode. So you can post pictures of things you're making for fall, or you can also post your favorite fall recipes, and you can post as many times as you want to get chances to win between now and the mid-September 2015 podcast episode. So that's our next giveaway. All right, so now I'm going to answer two more. I'm going to answer two more Ask the Podcaster questions from our thread that we had earlier this year. The first one comes from Elvin's Knits, who is Sharon in Eureka, California, and she asks, what one thing in the needlework world have you never learned to do that you would love to try? So, years ago, my friend Carol sent me a link to this beautiful embroidery sampler, alphabet sampler. I know that when I find it, because I looked for it this morning and I couldn't find it, but I know when I find it, it will be like, oh yeah, that's who it's from, because I know it's from a very well-known person in our needlework community. I just can't think of it off the top of my head. But every time I've sat down to do it, it is so intimidating because I cross stitch, but I have just no idea how to do embroidery work. So I really want to do it because it's so beautiful. I bought it when Ella's now 4. I bought it when Meg was pregnant with Ella, thinking that I was going to make it for Ella's nursery. Didn't happen. So now I don't know who it would go to, but at this point, I just want to make it because I just want to do it, and I think it's really cute. And I don't know, maybe I would save it for a grandniece or something. So yeah, like, I'm just not sure what to do. Like, there's not really, I need a teacher. I need somebody who can sit with me face to face and show me how to do it. Because videos and books are not clicking on this. And I'm not really sure to even where to go around here, because like our fabric store does cross stitch, but they don't do any embroidery stuff. And then our knitting stores don't do any embroidery. And another cross stitch store that I can think of does cross stitch and needle point, like canvas needle point, but they don't do embroidery either. So I'm not sure. If you're somebody who is in the Indianapolis area and you embroider and you would be willing to sit with me for some lessons, I would be grateful. So yeah, that's something that I really want to learn how to do. The second question comes from Graphy, who is Debbie in Illinois, and she says, what would you say to a beginner knitter that thinks she could never use both hands to knit? I run across so many women who say they can't use both hands at the same time to knit. And then she put in parenthetical, if you want to knit, you will. And that is exactly what I say. If you want to knit, you will. I don't know how many times I had people come in for knitting lessons or crochet lessons, and they just, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm not going to be able to do this. And the very first thing I would say was, tell yourself you can. Because if you believe you can, you're going to have such a higher likelihood that you can do it. So you just kind of have to have that mindset. And I think that's why, kids always learned so much easier and faster in beginning knitting and crochet classes. One, they're used to learning all the time and their minds are, not all formed yet, but they didn't know that they couldn't. So they just did it. So I really think that that is an important thing. I also would suggest that, if they say, I just can't do it, I've tried to do it when my mom was trying to teach me, or I was trying to do it when, my sister was trying to teach me or something. Try taking a class from someone you don't know. It takes some of the pressure off. And I had a lot of students who had tried with family members before and had been really frustrated. And I think that's because you don't want to say to your mom, I'm not getting it, or your grandmother, like, you don't really know what you're saying. Whereas if you don't know the person, you can just be like, don't get it. tell me this or tell me that. So I think that's a good thing to do too. Also, if you are a crocheter and you've tried to learn to knit and they've tried to teach you English style where you're holding the yarn in your right hand and it was very frustrating to you and you gave up, go back to knitting and try to learn how to knit continental where you're holding the yarn in your left hand. If you are a crocheter who is dominantly right-handed and you hold the yarn in your left hand to crochet, continental might really click easier for you as a knitter. So, all right. I think that's everything for today. Yeah, I hope you guys are all doing well. Thank you so much for watching and for being part of the group and all the support that everybody gives in emails and messages and such. I love to hear from all of you, so please feel free at any time to send me a message in Ravelry or comment on one of the threads. I do my best to answer everybody. So, all right. I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you soon. Happy knitting and crocheting. Bye-bye.